my opinion, you can have a tier one experience through an internship. Uh, why would you can shift to a tier one city if you want to build a practice there? Like if you want to build a practice in Supreme Court, have to be in Delhi. If you want to build a practice in a specialized forum which has a bench only in Delhi, again, you have to be in Delhi, right? But otherwise, it's not necessary to be in the same city. Okay. So High Court, for example, you should do an intern, but you can do an internship with a council in Delhi or Mumbai in the trial courts or High Court to see what the environment is like, just to give yourself exposure. But I'm not recommending starting off in a big city just because something better will happen to you. That's not necessary. High Court internship you must do after the trial process. After you're good with the trial process, you understand you can do the High Court internships to see appeals, criminal appeals in a High Court. Okay, criminal appellate jurisdiction. Then Supreme Court internships. Now, what will you see at the Supreme Court and the High Court? You'll see appeals, you'll see revisions. In Supreme Court, you'll see SLPs also. In High Court, you'll also see various appeals from magistrates court to sessions courts to High Court. So there'll be second appeals. Okay, you'll have a variety of work here. You'll have a variety of work at Supreme Court also, and you might find lawyers who are doing work under multiple laws and handling the appeals to the High Court and Supreme Court. Supreme Court has appellate jurisdiction in respect of offenses where 7 years imprisonment or more is there. So you may have appeals going here, some SLPs going here. Okay. Then white collar boutique firms and big law firms. What are boutique firms? Boutique firms are those firms which do only white collar practice. So I told you about the compliance and investigations practice. So under Foreign Corrupt Practices Act of US or UK Bribery Act, what happens is that those foreign companies will brief Indian lawyers to say, can you ensure and check, that can you do an investigation and check that there were no unauthorized payments made? Or if there was something made, can you tell us about the volume of risk that's there? Various mandates like that will be received. Okay. And boutique firms work on that also. That's compliance and investigations practice. Other than that, they also work on the special laws that I told you about, GST, PMLA, all of that. So after you've got a sense of, trial courts and all of that, then you can apply to boutique firms or big law firms. While you are working with the legal services authorities, I forgot to tell you one thing. Also get a sense, of what the prisons are like. So you may do visit a jail and see what the conditions are like. Okay, how things work. Okay, now coming back to the white collar aspect. Now, boutique firms are there and big law firms are there. So it's not necessary to apply to a tier one firm right away. After all this experience, you can apply to a boutique law firm, a dedicated law firm like, there's a MZM Legal, Manag and Babu. All these firms are there which have a boutique white collar practice. You can apply to them. Then you can apply to big law firms. All the big law firms, whether it's AZB, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, Luthra and Luthra, Trilegal, Khaitan and Co. They're all having white collar practices now. But you wouldn't know which firm is hiring when. So it's important that you stay in touch with them over a period of time to identify, so that when there's a vacancy, they may inform you or they may reach out to you. Now, these matters I'll give you example of more white collar matters. Okay. I'm giving you some examples. One is bribery, which I explained. Okay. And other misconduct under anti-corruption laws. Then there can be non-performing assets also. Like now, non-performing asset is basically a loan gone bad of a bank where there hasn't been a repayment for 3 months or more, and 3 months or 6 months is the time under RBI guidelines. And then the RBI says that you categorize this as a non-performing loan, but the bank has to figure out if there was a fraud conducted or not. There may be an investigation for that. Okay. Then tax evasion again. When you find that taxes are not being paid or returns are not being filed, there are certain factual facts based on which you derive an inference that criminal prosecution should be started here for evasion. Okay. Or IBC also has a insolvency bankruptcy process. But what if before that was initiated, the promoters were anticipating it? And what if while in that process, during the anticipation of it, they transferred some property away from the company? Okay, they alienated their property. So those are called fraudulent preferences. So IBC has a certain civil way to deal with it, but there are criminal proceedings possible in respect of these areas. So the thing is that you may be an expert at section 420 of IPC on cheating, but how the law plays out in respect of all these facts and actions, it's very unique. And that's what you got to learn in all these interns before all these internships ideally. So that you can apply these things. What's procurement for fraud? So when the government releases a tender, okay, and you have to bid for it, there could be unauthorized payments made there. There could be fraud over there. Okay, favoring some parties by the government, but private party क्या करेगा? Private party will give somebody a bribe, for example, to win the tender. Okay, irrespective of not qualifying for the for the technical or the financial components. They may not be meeting the criteria necessary, so they will say, okay, like just make us qualify the tender related fraud. Yeah, okay, there could be bid rigging and all. Also they could be rigging the tender, they could form a cartel. A lot of things are there, but some parts have criminal aspects, some parts don't have. Okay, infrastructure fraud, for example, you got an infrastructure loan long term, okay, but those development funds are being misused for a different purpose, and there's a clear clause in the document that there'll be an auditing process, there will be a purpose for which this money is used, but you're using it for different purposes. This can also happen. So now these are specialized applications, and the facts, the way the matter proceeds, the kind of mandate you'll get from a client will be different. Okay, so the lender will also say that, okay, this is the fraud that needs to be done. Pre-criminal proceeding initiation, some investigation needs to be checked, needs to be undertaken. Then the company will say, okay, we need to save ourselves. And then once the prosecution is initiated, then it's different altogether. So various stages will be there, and the matters, mandates, nature will be different. Violation of sanctions laws. What are like building sanctions, MCD laws, all of that? Okay, uh, basically municipal bylaws, violation of those, violation of various kinds of corporate governance and policy norms. Okay, you know what happened in the Harshad Mehta case, for example, the TV show Scam is on that, which is available on Sony Live. So now these kind of areas, no, the whole application is different.